Parents of Reddit, what was the worst thing you got caught doing by your children? Not me, but a friend of mine. He self-medicated with alcohol and drank around his kids almost constantly. One occasion he was angry about something one of the kids did. His youngest daughter went to the fridge and handed him a beer and told him he needed to calm down. He hasn't had a drop since. I was changing my daughter when she was a toddler who was about 14 months old, and the little monkey was wriggling around trying to escape. She almost fell off the change table, and I said "shit." There was a few seconds of silence which was broken by her little voice saying "shit" perfectly. Oh. I was sure that she'd start saying that all of the time, because I laughed when she said it. She didn't say it again, though. Changing that kid's nappy was like trying to put clothes on a cat. Luckily toddlers don't have claws, and she wasn't a biter. We have 2 cats and 2 dogs and they are annoying as fuck, but I love them. Our coon dog mix is bad about hovering when my 2-year-old has food. One time I tried to push her back, and she wouldn't move, so I said, "Phob, move your ass." Pretty soon my son was telling all the animals to move their asses if they were in the way. Then the other day we were snowed in, so I decided to lay down for a nap with him. After I finally got him settled in the bed, a huge ginger cat jumped on top of me, and I said "oh crap." I'm still trying to convince him that he shouldn't say "oh crap" every time one of the cats jumps up on something. My 5-year-old who was supposed to be sleeping decided to barge into our room while I was on top of my significant other. I was already yelling "no, no, no" while the door was opening, so he only got a glimpse while turning around to shut the door. I threw some clothes on and followed him out to tuck him back into bed. He asked me what I was doing in top of dad, so me being my quick thinking self, told my son that I was cracking dad's back. Lol. Son says, "Oh, like Dr. Kevin, my chiropractor." I said exactly like that. When my daughter was in elementary school, she needed a jump drive for something. I gave her one that I knew was okay. The day that she needed it, she tried it, and there was some kind of a problem with it, so I grabbed another one to give to her. You probably already guessed it. There was that folder on there from when I was tossing away an old backup hard drive. She must have opened it up. She did not tell me about it until she was about 19. All I could do was say whoops. Back in time, people recorded TV shows on VHS tapes. My uncle brought us a documentary about wild animals in Africa. It was a Sunday night. All family gathered. Me, 10 years old, my sister, 5, my parents and my grandparents, that is my uncle's parents, were sitting on the couch to see it. Let's just say that what we saw was wild, very wild. As soon as he realized that it was his porn tape, he desperately tried to shut it down, pressing all the buttons on the remote. Having failed, he stood up and pressed our old TV buttons, failing to change the channel and increasing the sound in process. So I was laughing. My sister wasn't understanding anything. My grandma was covering his eyes. Grandpa was paralyzed in shock. Mom and dad also trying to help my poor uncle. In the end, someone managed to eject the tape. It all happened in like 5 seconds, but I'm sure for my uncle it lasted a lot more than that. Not the parent, but the child in this story. We all moved in with my grandma as times were hard. My mom really hated grandma, to the point apparently she didn't even want to walk through the house to pee. We were all watching a movie in my mom's room, and I see a can of Lay's stacks, like Pringles. Pop that sucker open and tilted it down to get me some chips, but got covered in my mom's piss instead. She was peeing in a Lay's can. Went straight to the shower and they never knew, but WTF. Not actually bad, but my wife had wanted to rearrange our bedroom closet for a long time, but just couldn't find the time with our, at the time, 2-year-old son constantly underfoot. She was out of the house one afternoon, so I decided to surprise her by taking out all the clothes and putting them back the way she wanted. My son was watching and saw me drape her many skirts and dresses over my arms and shoulders so I could move them out efficiently. My wife came home, and when she asked him what we'd been up to, he casually said, "Papa was wearing your clothes." My wife shot me a weird glance and I gave her that "I'll explain later" hand gesture that's part of the nonverbal communication every couple develops after many years together. I'm over a foot taller than her and close to 2.5 times her weight, so I'm sure the mental image that flashed in her head was very confusing. Edit, and by confusing, I mean traumatizing. Not a parent, but a forever scarred child. I think I was like 10 when this happened. I had recently discovered the wonderful world of picking locks with bobby pins and walked around the house checking for locked doors I could pick. I found a door that was locked, and it was my parents' bedroom door. I proceeded to pick it and saw my dad's naked ass sticking up in the air, and that's about it before my mom yelped when she realized the door was open now. I quickly shut the door and ran to my room 2 floors down. I stopped picking bedroom door locks after that. Edit, my name is not Jake. That would have been one hell of a coincidence though. My wife and I during one of our air copulations were doing it on the couch. I had like a 30-second orgasm that was loud and proud. The stairs to our house have a landing where you look around the wall and see the whole living room. After my unusually and exceedingly long orgasm, I hear my 6-year-old's voice emanating from the stairs asking, "Daddy, why are you laying on mommy?" Going back quote, "Oh. I unstubbed my toe and it hurt so much I fell over on mommy. Go to bed." And he did. I'm pretty sure he'll put it together when he's old enough. Got caught by my 6-year-old getting it on. My BF was on top. Luckily we heard some noise outside the door and pulled the blanket on us. He asked why my BF was on me, and I told him I was really cold. When he was 7 he tried coming in when my BF was going down on me. We thought he went back downstairs. We would put a movie or show on for him and go upstairs to do stuff, but he didn't. I walk out of the room and he was there sitting at the top of the stairs and asked why was I panting so much. Folding laundry is just so much work. This isn't a parent story, but when I was about 14 years old I used to wake up every early morning to go visit my grandparents who lived right next to me. It was about 7 AM and I went into their house. I didn't hear them talking, nor were they making food, so I was concerned. I opened their bedroom door and I was scarred lol. Caught them having sex, missionary, on the floor. My grandpa didn't bat an eye, but I made eye contact with my grandma for half a second before I shut the door and ran back to my house next door. I laid in disbelief and felt as if I could never see them face to face again. Thankfully my grandpa and I talked normally later that day, so that was good lol. My 7-year-old has a habit of coming out of his room because he's scared. He's done this since he learned to walk, and he's not scared, he's just afraid he's going to miss something exciting. Now that you know that, I can tell you about the time my husband had taken some weed, legal here and he rarely does it, and being the nice wife I am, I prepared him some fresh baked cookies, pizza rolls, nachos and wings. Basically a munches buffet on the table after the kids had gone to bed. My kid comes out like he usually does, announces that he's once again scared, and proceeds to have one pair of eyeballs that goes to the size of dinner plates, because damned if there isn't an amazing spread just sitting in front of his parents on the coffee table. That was months ago, and the little butthead still thinks that's what we do after they go to bed every day. My wife had a flat in the middle of a driving rainstorm. I went out and rescued her, but in the course of changing the tire, I was soaked through, all the way to my skin, like a swimming pool. We get home, I'm in pain, wet, cold. Our teenager is in the kitchen cooking, which is next to the laundry room. I go to the laundry room, dripping wet, and tell him in the next 40 to 60 seconds, I will be completely naked. If you want to continue standing there, that's on you. But, takes off shirt in the next 20 to 30 seconds. Okay, I'm going. Not a parent, but I'm a night owl and always stayed up late if I had nothing going on the next day. I work night shifts now as well, so I'm up all night usually. Anyway, this was when I was still in school. Not that my dad cares, but it'd be nice if he kept in mind I'm sometimes here throughout the night. I've caught my dad, on multiple occasions, going to the bathroom, butt ass naked at night. From the living room of our house, you can see the upstairs hallway clearly. I've also caught my grandfather doing the same thing when I was visiting there one night. Put some clothes on if you know someone who could still be up is in the house. I was on the phone to my friend and we were talking about my daughter. My son was meant to be in his room playing, but went to the kitchen to get a glass of water. I was in the living room. Anyway, we were talking about my daughter and my friend's daughter's playdate, and were laughing over my daughter falling into the pond at the park we were at. My son starts crying and freaking out. I hung up and asked what was wrong, and he goes, "Is Marcy dead?" My daughter, turns out he thought his big C's had drowned.